Hi, everyone. How was everyone's MAGFest thus far? I said, how's everyone's MAGFest thus far? There we go. First of all, look at all you all. Look at this. Look at this. So give it a hand for yourselves being here. Thank you. All right, my name is Javon Gord. I am the department head for the Music and Gaming Education Symposium, which this talk is on. I know, fancy, clock it. So it sounds fancy, but it's really the critical, engaging arm to MAGFest, okay? So if you're ever interested in having like deep discussion about Legend of Zelda, well, if you can put a theoretical framework on it, let's talk, okay? And so I'm super excited to have these beautiful people who are like my friends, colleagues, and all that stuff, my mentors. I'm happy to have them here. And I'm also a member of the board of directors for all of MAGFest. So it's not fancy. I'm just in a lot more meetings. That's all that means. But all that means is that it allows me to have the capabilities to bring amazing people to MAGFest, to meet you all wonderful people, and you all are proving my point. So by all means, continue to support us in Mages and making sure that our mission on having critical conversation such as these panels continues. Okay, can you do that for me? Yes. So therefore, there's going to be a beautiful like MAGFest, like how was it kind of form. Fill that out and be like, you know, Javon was speaking some true stuff, you know? Like Mages is lit. Like, they got a whole bunch of stuff, right? They bring amazing people. So please give these wonderful people my absolute love. I still have other department head duties to do, so I'll stick around for a few minutes before I disappear into the shadows. But I will leave you in the capable, wonderful hands of our moderator, the Trinidad Black.
Hi, beautiful people. Hi. Are y'all awake today? Yes. All right, well, we're about to get this party started. I'm honored to host and moderate the road. This road isn't all rainbows. And these are all game developers, if you didn't notice by the title. So, well, game developers and doctors and teachers and people who are not only educated, but formally know how to develop from all aspects. Cool? Cool. All right. So if Adana can go to the next slide, I'd like to introduce her. So I just want to say I personally adore Adana because not only is she my cute, purple, like beautiful goddess, but she has a lot of discipline and a lot of creativity. And in this space, you know, those two are very intricate in order for us to really build what we're trying to build, correct? Yeah. So I'd like to talk about her discipline. She's a game writer, a narrative designer, and game researcher. She's also worked on Spirit Swap, Lo-Fi Beats to Match 3, 2, and Kiss You. Her favorite games are Promise Mascot and Agency. And a fun fact about her, which y'all can read, but I like talking, so I'm gonna talk it out. She's currently creating a web novel and RPG called Yesha's Odyssey. Yesha's Odyssey. Everybody give it up for Adana.
I also would love to showcase a trailer for Spirit Swap. We're gonna try this because the last time I tried this in MAGFest, it blew out my laptop speakers.
Let's not do that.
But if it doesn't work, you can scan that fancy QR code and get taken straight to the Steam page. Let's see if this works. All right, I'm gonna dial this up slightly and hopefully not deafen everyone. Nope, it's not muted. Just imagine there's cool music playing right now. Yep, it says there's. You probably have to change it. All right, we're just gonna imagine there's cool music, but you can match 3 puzzles, you can date all your cool friends. Very fun game, and it's released on Steam right now. So feel free to check it out. And I think we can go to who's next. And all the trailers just might be mute. I don't know why the MAGFest Wi-Fi hates me.
It's probably output.
So next, sorry, we really wanted to hear the music. Next, did y'all scan the QR code though? Did you have time to scan the QR code?
Don't worry, we can shuffle back at the end.
Okay, all right, awesome. I'd love to introduce another one of my faves, my Leah. Pronouns she, her. Sorry, I forgot to say your pronouns, Adana. And she, her.
Yes.
So just so everybody knows, because my brain. Her discipline is community management, marketing, and writing. How many of us need a community manager for our lives? I do, okay? My life is cray-cray, so I need a community manager, but like she actually does it for like amazing companies, communities. So she's previously worked on Sushi Ben, Tomo, Endless Blue, Pen Pal Princess, Take Us North. Oh, I love that game. Her favorite games are 13 Sentinels, I Don't Know How to Speak, Aegis Rim, Paper Maria, The 1,000-Year Door. Fun fact, she's an avid, is it Maria?
Mario.
It's paper.
Oh, I didn't even see my brain.
It's Paper Mario, yeah.
I can read, y'all, I promise. Don't judge me. I feel all the judgment right now. She says, I'm an avid fan game creator, creating 3 for the Identity V fandom, as well as an incoming one for Idolish 7. I've also hosted a fan game jam. So I need y'all to give it up a little louder. I don't hear. Okay. A side note that I know about her is I know her from Game Devs of Color, and y'all received an award this year. So she's been doing a lot in the community. So give it up again for that. Now let's Sushi Ben.
We also have a trailer for Sushi Ben. And fun fact, if you go to MAGFest Indie Arcade, which is downstairs, you can play it right now.
Let's go. Make sure you scan the QR code while you're looking.
So you can hear, oh, now the sound works. What? Oh, it's playing now. It's playing right there. Oh. I'm trying to hear it again. I don't know why the sound isn't going up.
I don't want to break it. Woo! Give it up for Sushi Ben.
Yeah, so it was previously in VR, but now we also have a flat version available, which is available this weekend to play. So check it out.
I have a question. Were any seagulls harmed in the making of Sushi Ben?
I can't disclose that information.
All right.
Next we have Akil, pronouns he, him. That would be Dr. Akil right here. His discipline is postdoctoral fellow and lecturer at Princeton University. Okay. Digital anthropologist, game studies scholar. Courses he's taught is gaming blackness and digital anthropology. Author of Esports and the Color Line and Black Gamers Refuge. Favorite games, Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, God of War, Ragnarok, Pokemon Silver, Halo 9. How do you say the last one? Sekiro, sorry. I just don't know how to speak. I also know he likes to kick Javon's butt in Mario Kart, but that's a side note. And he doesn't cheat. That's just your own perception. And his fun fact is he has a black belt in Taekwondo. Hey, give it up for Dr. Akil.
The black belt is so he can jump you in and out of Mario Kart.
Next is Timothy Stanton Davis, pronouns he, him. Discipline is game designer, combat designer. We all love a combat designer, huh? Producer, cultural consultant. Previously worked on God of War, Marvel's Avengers, Halo Infinite. Favorite game is Kingdom Hearts 2. Katamari Damacy. Near Automata, maybe. And a fun fact is he made an JRPG in RPG Maker in middle school. He's like, I'm about this life. Here's Clock Out 2, which is was made by him and a bunch of other developers from Melanated Game Kitchen.
Yeah, we're currently showing some of it on the floor, but this is a short trailer. It's still in development, but hopefully it'll play.
We're gonna see if the sound works. Oh, the sound works.
Sound
They
works.
just don't like me, I guess. My bad. I'm afraid to touch it. I think it'll explode.
Hey, just a reminder, it's downstairs, so stop by and play it. Next, I'll introduce myself. I'm not as fantastic as these beautiful people. I am Trinidad Hermita Black, pronouns she, her, and I am the chair of Black in Gaming, which is a nonprofit that supports professionals and folks who are interested in learning and getting into the gaming industry. I've also founded companies, and I've worked with Pokemon Go and at Unity and different things of that nature. I love building community with purpose. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm honored to moderate this panel. And let's get this party started, because you really want to hear about them. So
I
let's
think
go.
we should give Trinidad a round of applause too.
Can we kick it?
We also wanted to give a shout out to one of our panelists who couldn't make it, Jaisha Williams. She's very cool, very awesome. She worked at ID and worked on a little indie title I think some of you have heard of called Doom.
Little indie.
Senior quality assurance tester at id Software. She's worked on Doom, Quake Champions, and Starfield. I also put her socials below. And I believe we also have some other game dev friends in the audience.
Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
at? Yes, we have Star, we have...
Oh, my name is Claire. I work at Bethesda.
Cool!
Woo!
And yeah, with the hand up.
I used to work with Ajay.
Cool.
Oh.
But yes, we have, the fun thing about MAGFest is there are so many game developers. Feel free to go down, check out other different games at the Indie Hall, because they're all so excited to talk to you about game development and how many bugs they did not fix before they got here. So,
We have another.
oh, I think we have another game dev. Latoya, don't hide. Don't
Latoya.
run. Don't run. But
She's like, I'm trying to get out. Yeah. Find her, Latoya Peterson, on all socials. She's amazing.
I think she made a game for a little indie show that I don't know if people have heard about called Insecure with Issa Rae.
Just a little game, little indie show, Insecure.
But yeah, I think we're ready to start our questions before we get all into the Mario Kart and everyone leaves here angry.
Are you gonna start playing Mario Kart? We're gonna play after.
So we have 4 starter questions. Then we're going to open the floor for people who want to ask questions before the chaos of Mario Kart starts. After, we're going to have a nice little line. You're going to line up. You're going to ask your question. And then we're going to give you a controller, and we're going to have some fun playing Mario Kart World. Who's ready for Mario Kart World?
Yes.
Who came here to play Mario Kart World for free? You can be honest. It's fine. But yes, let's start off with question number 1.
How did you break into the game industry? And let's start with Malia.
So I was really interested in game development when I learned that being a game dev was even a job. And I just kind of started like reaching out to people on Twitter, rest in peace. And I I saw that there was a job opening for a company called Code Coven, and they were teaching indie developers, or aspiring indie developers, Unity. And I applied for the course, a scholarship for the course, but I didn't get in. And I was like, you know what, it's all right. So I asked them, hey, do you need any help with like social media? Because I was previously a journalist. And so I just started doing social media kind of for fun, for different events. And since they needed social media help, I just came on to their org and started doing social media management for them, helping indie devs learn Unity through that organization. And then I started helping other indie devs with their social media, kind of reaching out to studios, hey, do you need help? And honestly, the best way to get gigs is just seeing who needs help. I definitely recommend just like being proactive about like finding work. I think that was a really big thing for me.
Adana.
I can go next. I had a very weird route into game development because I actually started it with academic games research. I was in a research fellowship at the University of Pittsburgh called the iSchool Inclusion Institute, which is now at the University of Austin, I think. But that was where I first learned about games research actually being a thing you could do. And the research project I did with me and my team was studying how players of color would use in-game virtual skins like virtual cosmetics in order to look like their real selves, and also pay more money to look like their real life selves because those diverse options aren't always available, much less available for free or as the default. So working and studying games as someone who played them for a long time and seeing the analytical perspective and seeing like, oh, there's actually like reasons and like there are tons of business guys behind every decision you make when you see a bigger game was really cool. And it was also cool seeing how players were like, yeah, even though we may not use these in-game skins to look like ourselves, we may prefer it for aesthetic purposes, we still want to see more diverse representation in games. And then after that, I realized I hated writing research papers, but I did like writing. So I ended up pivoting into games writing. I ended up reaching out to a lot of game writers on Twitter, RIP Twitter. And then I was able to get my first gig with Recommendation Job, but then led to Spirit Swap. So as Malia said, definitely reaching out and networking, just talking, and especially if you see devs doing cool games that are things like, oh, this is something I really like, or this is something I really liked from my childhood. Don't be afraid to reach out and just say how much you like the game and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say volunteering too. I first volunteered with Queer Women of Esports just because I wanted to help out in the community, and people really appreciate that. And just getting that early experience has been really big for, I think, a lot of people that I know to break into the games industry.
Timothy.
Yeah, I guess there's a thread going on here with like the reaching out part, isn't there? Emily, you've helped me out with a few little things here and there for some social media stuff. So yeah, I mean, for me, I've done AAA stuff, and then I'm also doing indie stuff right now. And originally, I kind of went the, I guess, traditional route to get into like my first job. So I went, I'm a software developer by like programming background. Got a degree at Howard University, and then I did a master's program at Carnegie Mellon. Where we focused on making interactive media from like all types of media, all types of technologies and stuff like that. So I got a chance to collaborate with a lot of game stuff, but also like film and like VR stuff. So I did a whole lot of stuff in a couple years. And so pretty much after I graduated, the reaching out part of going to conferences, talking to recruiters and all that kind of stuff, I was able to kind of meet a few people to get me in the door to get my first job in the industry officially a couple months after I graduated at Monolith in Seattle. And I moved to Seattle to start working there. Shadow of War during that time, actually. And then from there, I was able to kind of just like stay in, find a next gig, contract gigs after that, in the AAA space for the last like 6 years or so. But yeah. That's been.
Dr. Akil.
Yeah. Akil is always just fine. Hi, everyone. So, like, unlike the rest of the panelists, I am not a games developer directly. I am mostly in academia, but I would still argue I'm still breaking into the games industry. So, unlike our amazing folks here who have made or reached out to folks, I always tell the same story. Basically, I was an undergrad. I had my first daughter, and when I was like 20. And I was working basically 3 different jobs and going to school in the day, going to school at working at night. And I was like, I need to be happy. And I thought long and hard about what made me happy, and it was video games. So I then said, I'm getting a BA in anthropology. I love video games. What can I do? And I matched those 2 together. Went to get a PhD, and then, by results of having a doctorate, studying and looking at games, game companies eventually said, hey, is this game racist? And I was like, just a little bit.
Facts. Let's go to the next question. So, what's your favorite thing about working in the games industry? And I want to go back to Timothy. What's your favorite thing?
Yeah, I mean, talking about like thinking hard about stuff, right? The industry is a little bit in shambles right now, as many of y'all might be aware of. So kind of asking some existential questions a little bit. But one of the things that keeps me coming back to doing this stuff is a lot of the creative collaboration that I've been able to do and continue to do. I believe that I get to work with really extremely like creative, talented people on the regular to kind of just make things that would not exist otherwise. Same thing goes for like animation and stuff like that. But I think that games are a very special medium, and so to find ways to work with other people, to make our visions be felt, tell our stories, and find like interesting ways to do so in a fun format, kind of keeps me like focused on coming back to keep doing the thing. So it's really the people and the creative process that I really enjoy a lot.
I'm like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I would love either Adana or Mylea, because I know y'all both have something.
I can go next. One of my, to build up on what Tim was mentioning, is seeing just the creativity of everyone in this industry, because if you've been to the indie arcade and just seen, like, I've seen, like, there was, like, a WarioWare style game, but instead of, like, regular controllers, it was keyboards, so it was all, like, typing-based mini games. So it was, like, there was a version of Pong where you had to type out a word before the ball gets to you, and then it goes back to the opponent, and you just keep going until someone loses. And seeing all the different ways that you can, like, make a game nowadays, and all the different ways you can have different, like, interaction, whether it's between the player and the story, or it's just between players and players. It's just such a cool thing. And I feel like even now it was like having like color and music in games was like revolutionary 20 years ago, and now 20 years from now we don't know what on earth games are going to look like. Yes. So being in such a fast-growing, fast-paced yet still creative industry has always been amazing.
Mylea?
For me, as a community manager, I'm going to say a bit of a cheesy answer, but it's definitely like the players and interacting with the community. There's really nothing like someone telling you that a game that you made them feel something. And I think that like as creatives, we just want to make things that make players and people around the world feel something. I think that that's like one of the reasons why I really wanted to become a game dev, was because I wanted to tell stories that could make people feel something. So like hearing from the players like what they really enjoy, how they've connected with people, how they've made friends because of the game that we created. That's just like one of the best parts about being a game dev.
That's beautiful. So the next logical question is, what is something you would actually change in the game industry if you could? Wish to change, and that could be open.
Something that I would wish to change is making it more accessible, especially to like students and maybe people who don't have the same like levels of income to, you know, afford a ton of super expensive things. Like, this Switch 2 expensive, but like seeing like, especially seeing how like games affected me so poignantly from a young age, and it feels like sometimes like when I feel like telling like kids, oh, like, yeah, you can become a game developer, it feels kind of weird because the games industry is also very much on fire right now, even though it's still something worth investing in. And another thing that I think is important is I think we should also like start seeing games not only just as like products, but also as art and creative endeavors, and like working to like preserve them, talk to the people that made them, all that cool stuff.
Anyone else?
I would second all of that in many of these cases. One of the things that I have to always talk about with my students in terms of arguing whether or not video games are art or simply products, which they are art in many of these cases, is the ways in which, going to be getting on my horse here, the ways in which games have to essentially function in a system of capital, and if they don't make money, then people don't get to make games. But I would love to see a world where games can be made without the need to make the money in many of these cases, that you can live in a world where you can just make art and still get to eat in many of these cases. But yeah, I was going to say something else. Anyway, you can go ahead.
Can I add something? So understanding the things that you would change, what is something, like one thing that I've seen is that even when something's on fire, right, like the industry's on fire, like there's still this ethos or this energy of being able to create something and it endure fire. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like I feel like all of you have endured fire, because in the industry there's been a lot of layoffs, there's been just egregious things that are happening, and we all that are here in America. Some of you have come from far, but like if you're in America, we're living in a fire can right now, like a dumpster fire. So like there's, and it's like that little cat, or I don't know what it is, but it's like the dog, everything is fine, and then there's like literally everything's blowing up around me. But thinking about that.
Yeah, no, actually, I remember what I was going to say now. Yay, brain's working today. I was going to say that my favorite thing about being in the industry is being tangential to it, actually. Mm-hmm. So a lot of you might want to go into the industry in many of these cases, and it might want to be as a developer, and that's perfectly fine. But I think one of the values in, I guess, seeing that I can be on a panel like this is the fact that you don't have to make games to be a part of the games industry. You can be a journalist, you can work as an academic, you can work as a lawyer, you can work on the ESRB committee. Like, there are lots of different ways to interact and be a part of video games and make them better without having to live within the precarity of being a developer and possibly losing your job at the end of it. So it is, not to dissuade anybody, but it is very nice that I have a university that pays my bills, and then when the games industry decides to get their shit together for 5 minutes, I can hop in, say hello, do my job, and then go back. So yeah.
You're kind of leading into our next question, which is how would someone get into the industry if they're interested? Was that or did you change it?
Oh wait, that was
no. What?
Oh,
no, that question's
Can
fine.
I add something into
Yes.
this question? I also wanted.
We'll do the help.
Yeah, I wanted to say that what I've heard from a lot of players and just like games people in general is that people want shorter games with shittier graphics, and I think that's so true because I'm just like, we don't need like a full-on AAA game that takes 10 years. Like, we should just, I wish that we could work on more games that were shorter, and people would just be like, you know what, that's okay that the game's only 3 hours long, because like sometimes I don't want to play a 40-hour game. I just want to play a little 5-hour like bite-sized game, and like that's okay. So we need shorter games with shittier graphics.
I also agree, because I just started Expedition 33, and I'm like, this is gonna take me all year, bro. But yeah, we can go to Trinidad. You mentioned a question about how you go about getting into the games industry, I believe.
And so what Mylea said about shorter games, shittier graphics, right? That brought into something that I know Timothy does, and how I started to actually get into games, which was game jams. And so the question is, next question, which is about how do you get into the game industry? I don't know if that question was it deleted?
It was. I shifted it around because I figured we were gonna get asked that anyway.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
We could have space. But yeah, as for getting into the games industry, game jams are very, very helpful. One of the things I like to do, especially as someone who like works a day job and does games, is that you don't have to go heads first immediately into like, oh, I want to do a full-time job in game development. You can join a free game jam. itch.io is a great website for finding game jams, whether it's something like Metroidvanias, visual novels, platformers, to just stick your foot in. It's like, do I like making art for games? Do I like programming? Do I like writing? just figuring out the best way that you like games is like, is this something that I want to like continue doing, or maybe it's something I just want to do in the hobby, like drawing or something. I don't have to necessarily pursue it professionally, but just figuring out your depth and how much you want to go before going in head first, highly, highly recommend.
Timothy, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, 100% to a lot of the points being made. For one, pricing of games is a complete mess, I would say. You know, the expectations from a lot of players, or some players that like, you know, paying $20, $30 for something that someone spent 3-4 years on, that's only going to be 5 hours of gameplay. That should be okay. You know, you get what you get from the experience that you are paying for. But also to that end, yeah, we hosting game jams. You hosted game jams. I host game jams. A couple game jams a year, and a lot of these kinds of things are, one, we look for people who, you know, are just trying to get their feet wet. And they just kind of want to, you know, try something out, try the engine out, work with people like myself or others who are more experienced to kind of like give some guidance along the way, you know. But it's really satisfying when you can make something that, you know, is somewhat complete and bite-sized, and you have something, oh yeah, make this thing with other people, you can make more of it, you know. And then the really good ones, you might make a full game out of it later. So
yeah, it's really satisfying to like do a game jam, because like you actually finish something. It's like, wow, we actually finished something.
And it doesn't take 5 to 7 years under an NDA.
We do not do RPGs and game jams.
No.
To that point, and to push what Mylea was saying, smaller games, you know, the rest, I do want everybody in here to believe that you all individually can create a game. Each and every person in this room can create a game. And so even understanding that no thought is just a thought. A lot of times we get these creative ideas, and then we're like, oh, nah, that's too hard. Write it down, take a picture, do whatever you need to do, but ruminate over it, meditate on it, and hit up a game jam, and your thought might be able to fuel what in that moment you're able to create. So I wanted to put that out there. The next question: what is one video game that you would recommend to everyone here?
I'm gonna start. This was my favorite game, my most recent favorite game. I played Promise Mascot Agency. It's out on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch, and it's basically, who here has heard of the Yakuza games, the Yakuza game series? Yeah. Okay, nice to see that people know that. So imagine if it was a game and it was just all of the wacky side stories, because that's literally the entire game. You're this disgraced Yakuza, you gotta get your 12 billion yen, and in order to do that, you basically have to revive the family's secret mascot agency. So it's imagining you're recruiting a ton of washed up actors to try and make enough money, doing various things to help the community to like not lose your life because you owe 12 billion yen. And it's really short, really fun. It's made by Kaizen Gamers, which I think made, what was that game? It was the mystery one, the fancy mystery one. I'll remember it later, but make a lot of cool games, and would definitely recommend people check it out. It's so silly, it's so fun. And I'm gonna shoot it at a keel. What game do you recommend?
That's a hard question to answer in many of these cases. I have way too many games that I play and go through. I will recommend South of Midnight and Hades 2.
Yes! All right, Tim, you're next.
So this is funny because I started doing a curation series on Substack recently. So I was trying to think of which things from that I should list. But one that I would like to mention, because I would like to see more of it, or at least like a physical release at some point, is Capcom released Kunitsugami last year, which is like a action arcade like tower defense that's also like super heavy, like traditional Japanese aesthetics with using practical effects and all this. It's like super ambitious and super creative, artsy. I just didn't see it getting as much like play as I hoped it would, considering how impressive it is and kind of like indie AA supported it was. But I think a lot of people should check that one out. It's really cool.
And the last one before we start Mario Kart, what game would you recommend to everyone here,
Okay, so you guys know Atlas, obviously, Persona, Shin Megami Tensei. Okay, but do you know 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim? Okay, taste. There are people with taste here. Okay, so it's not a game that I would recommend to everyone, but it's a game I would recommend to people who enjoy sci-fi. They enjoy a good, winding story. It's somehow every sci-fi trope ever. Like one time my friend was asking like, oh, does it have like, well, I'm not going to list them because I don't want to spoil anything, but he was just like going through listing every trope, and I was like, somehow, yes, it has that in there too. So I think it's 13 Sentinels is I think that games don't have to appeal to everyone to be a good game, and I think this game is one that's like it doesn't appeal to everyone, but it's really good for those people who enjoy those mystery visual novel, but still with satisfying turn-based gameplay as well. So yeah, check it out. It's really good.
Alrighty. With that, this is the time that everyone's been waiting for. But before we start, did anyone have any questions that they wanted to ask before the chaos of Mario Kart starts? Yes, Sonic. I hope that's Sonic. I can't see it. Yeah.
Thank you. First things first, I'm in the industry, and I wanted to say that you guys rock for, giving information on how to break into the industry. It's been a challenge for myself as well. And I wanted to ask an interesting question that I think it will be very helpful. Let's say that you managed to score the interview through applications. What tips will you give the audience on how to prepare for the interview? Anything that, because getting the interview is quite difficult, but then during the interview, what would you put yourself or do during the scenario?
It's time to start stalking on LinkedIn. But to further navigate that, definitely once you get that interview, whether it's with a company, you're probably, if you know the name of whoever is interviewing you, definitely check them out on LinkedIn, check out their previous games, check out what they're looking for, and also specifically what they're looking for within that job posting. Because a lot of times, if you've reached the stage that you've gotten an interview, that means they're interested in you. So don't ever self-select out because you're like, oh, I don't feel like I'm right for this, that, and the third. They chose to interview you for a reason. And you don't really know. They don't put everything that they're looking for in the job description. You might fit it perfectly, and you just might not know it because they haven't said that. So never self-select out. Do a lot of LinkedIn stalking, and always send a thank you email.
Yeah, I will just add, having spoken to Riot recruiters and folks who have done all the interviewing at Riot and a couple of other companies, it is a process, but many of them are simply looking to see if, as corporate as it sounds, if you are a fit, right? When they say we're all a family, you hear all the other BS, they are doing that. So you're typically looking at 6 to 8 interviews at a company like Riot or Blizzard. You are going to be continuous, it's going to be exhausting, and they are going to wear you down and sometimes even ask you the same questions to see if they can catch you slipping in some case. But you need to essentially, my biggest advice would be to acclimate yourself to what the company's directive and their culture is. So if they are, like Riot's old engagement used to be like, we are a team of core gamers, because they were making League of Legends, all this other stuff, and even though that has expanded, if you know who to play top against Malphite, that doesn't dare you to what the company is, right? If you can tell me what's the best aspect and build and Goddess from Millennium Way 2 in some of these cases, I said Millennium Way, and for Hades 2, knowing ball can help in many of these cases, but also you also have to sort of define with where you're going. It's working for an indie company or AA company in many of these cases, or a AAA company can be different in terms of what they want, and where AAAs are often looking for someone with a specific skill versus smaller companies that want you to have a lot of different skills, to be a jack of all trades. So if you have a skill that you're good at and you can hammer away at this, you don't have to just ask me, you can ask LaToya Peterson and other folks who, if she's still here in the back, if you have a skill that you are good at and you can hammer away at that and be, the best tool that you can be for that team, whether it be art or blah, 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 whatever else it is, then you have a better shot in some of these cases. So yeah, Mario Kart, people, woo.
All right, is this for Mario Kart, or is this another question before Mario Kart?
We have 2 more questions.
2 more questions? Okay, cool.
Okay, this is very loud. I had a question also related to getting a job, but more on the very specific art side of it. I'm trying to get into the game industry as an artist or writer, more specifically concept art or possibly even animation if I ever get my shit together with that. And I was wondering, do many jobs require portfolios or any kind of thing like that? And if they do, what kind of things are they looking for in a portfolio? Because I recognize that a game design artist's portfolio is very different from a graphic designer's portfolio, from something else. And everywhere that I've tried to find it, it's just like, oh, due to like 8 to 12 pieces of your best work, it's best if it has a cohesive theme. Okay, that's not what I asked you. What do I do?
So, I'm a narrative designer, so my advice may be with a grain of salt, but I'm speaking for someone who's like looked at portfolios. Portfolio is helpful because A, it shows what you can do, and B, it shows that you know to show that you know what you can do. Because there'll be times when I'm like connecting with like whether it's other content creators, other narrative designers, other voice actors, and if I can't find your email, then that means even if I wanted to connect with you, I can't. I can't see what work you've done, I can't see who you've worked with, I can't see if you've worked with someone I know, so I can reach out to them and be like, hey, you worked with so-and-so, would you recommend them? Do you think they're cool? So even if your portfolio isn't completely like perfect, don't let that stop you from making one, because just having it out there and showing that, hey, this is something I want to pursue in games, this is something I want to do. And it's also the other reason you want a portfolio is because you can get feedback on it. You can't get feedback if you're only showing people a blank page. You have to make something so that way you know what to improve on and how to better your chances of getting in the industry. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
We have 2 more questions.
2 more questions, then we'll start speed running Mario Kart. Okay.
Hello. First of all, you guys are finishing game jams. I never finished a game jam game in my life.
Real.
Anyways.
That's real.
My question was, I'm in the industry, and I guess I'm a quality assurance tester, and I always wanted to break as a game designer. However, with life and whatever, working on projects gets kind of difficult. So my question for you guys was like, how do you guys balance your day-to-day job plus your personal projects and trying to just balance all that out, basically?
That's a good question.
Short answer, you don't.
Literally. I was like, I don't do that. But I think one of the nice things about games is that they're always going to be around, and people waited 11 years for a Silk Song, so they'll definitely sit around and wait for whatever you're working on. So don't be super duper pressured to like, oh, I need to rush and make this, especially as you're learning, because as you're learning the fundamentals, that's what's going to help you build up and make all the really great cool stuff, like Silk Song. And anyone else have anything else before we go to the last question?
Yeah, I'd just say, like, as someone who's experienced the difficulty of balancing those two things for a long time and the burnout of it, we can, if you want to talk about it more afterwards, we can talk about that more in detail. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, the last question before we start karting.
We have one more person who wants to.
Okay, 2 more,
Okay,
then we're
then
cutting
we're
it off
done,
because
then
it's
we're
2:45, and I know people want to play Mario Kart, but yes.
Hi.
You might just wanna cut it.
So definitely, this is probably like the last question. I mean, not last question. The last thing you guys ever think of. But as someone who is a musician trying to get into the video game music industry, what are your thoughts on hiring musicians? Because I know there's a lot of indie developers. That's the last thing that they think of. But what are your thoughts on that, or how is your process on it?
Well, the good news is this is the Music and Gaming Convention, so you are at the right place. And as I mentioned with the portfolio question previously, definitely like having somewhere accessible to post your work, whether it's YouTube, SoundCloud, anywhere that's like easily accessible. And another thing is, as we also mentioned earlier, game jams, because depending on the project, some games, like I know some indies I've worked with, they have like an idea for the sound they're going for. Others, they're like, okay, we like what you do, make something so we can put it in the background. So definitely, like MAGFest is a great conference for this. So networking, asking around, getting feedback on your portfolio, all that fun, good stuff. And
I would say being as accessible as possible. I know that Local Thunk actually hired a guy off of Fiverr for Balatro. That was like my #1 on my Spotify last year, and like that soundtrack is just like so good. So like making yourself really accessible, volunteering with maybe game jam teams, and just like composing music, I think is a great way to just like get yourself out there as well.
I think the Expedition 33 devs also found their guy on like Reddit. So
You never know when you can be, where you can be found. Yeah.
All right, we had one more question, and before I asked that, how many people wanted to play Mario Kart? Okay, so we're gonna be doing 2, we're gonna be doing 3, and then 1 dev, and we'll just shuffle it around. But yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to make it really quick. So my question is, how do you vet collaborators? So I've done a lot of game jams where I'll get halfway through, I'm jazzed, I'm excited, it's going well, and then all of a sudden the other person kind of ghosts. It's happened multiple times, and I'm not really sure if it's a me thing or if I'm just not, picking good collaborators. So I'm just curious about y'all's experience with that.
Sometimes it's like, what I would say is don't take it personally, because sometimes it's like stuff completely out of your control. Like I know a lot of friends in this past year who just had their funding just snatched out from under them, and there's not really anything you can do. And it's very awkward to go back to people and say, remember that game we were gonna work on? Well, the CEO needed a 7th yacht, so that's not happening. So going from there, and it's also just like trying to find people that are like within the same spaces and like vibe on the same projects as you. So when if they're always in your orbit, then that means you don't have to worry about losing track of them, which is nice. And I don't know. I've also life happens. I was like, especially when you're a game dev. So anyone else?
Yeah, it's unavoidable, to be honest. It's one of those kinds of things that like on yourself have good integrity to stick. If you say you're going to do a thing, do the thing. And if you can't do the thing, communicate that you can't do the thing. But not everybody is up to that level of professionalism, right? And so the best that we can do is ourselves individually do that, so we don't do it to other people. Because as you said, schedules change. So you can't do the thing. Okay, fine. Just don't leave me hanging, right?
Maybe I'm a little prissy, but I kind of like ask people like, oh, what other stuff have you worked on before? Like, what other? So then I see if like they have no other game jam project. I'm not necessarily not gonna work with you, but I'll be like a little more sus. Like, I don't know. So I think that seeing if they've completed something before is like. It's better, but also sometimes reliable people are unreliable. So I'm not gonna say I've always finished every game jam I've been a part of. So it happens.
All right, we have our. Oh, sorry.
You're good. I was gonna make it quick in some of these cases. It is unfortunate, but it happens at every single level, and it is something that is often at the whims of what department funding looks like, or like will the ideas carry through in some of these cases. Long story short, I was once asked to come in to look at some data from Sony, specifically in terms of how they were looking sort of like at racial biases within gameplay and other things like that. And that project was getting ready to set up and go, and then at the last second, it was basically ghosted off. It was like that dropped off. And it was largely because the individual who was heading that project got terminated. And then it wasn't until like a year later where I met the person again, and they were like, I'm sorry, Sony deleted all my contacts and everything that I had. So like these things can happen. So it's really, it's rough. So, but I will say, don't let that stop you. Keep trying, because one day we will land. So yeah.
Alrighty, it is time. I have everyone's contact and social information. I'm gonna hold this up for 10 seconds because we have 10 minutes before we are done. But yeah, I see Star begging us to play Mario Kart. So, can I get 3 volunteers to start us off? 1, 2, 3, and everyone else line up in groups of 3. We're gonna figure this out together.
That one, I want to smell. I want to smell it.
Yeah, it did smell great. I was like, yeah, I smelled it.
That was initially the plan, but this one came out a lot more different.
It smells pineapple. Is it a freaking Capri Sun?
No.
Is that Capri Sun?
No.
It tastes like lemon.
There's some.
I taste the pineapple. I taste the pineapple.
Yeah, it's one pinch.
Have you ever had a Capri Sun? It tastes like Capri Sun.
It kind of does.
We didn't even finish it.
But I can't taste it.
You feel the need.
These are cute bottles.
So,
That's a Don
someone actually knows their lips.
These are so cute. I can see the cost
So,
of it.
this is like this down here. This is 1800. I didn't have a strong one. These two actually came out of us. They're like so.
They're cute.
So, just so you know, everything has four logo in it.
You say that like 4 months ago. They don't make 4 months like this.
No, first off, when it first came out, I was on it like right on track. And I was like, nobody knows.
So this one actually had a mix of oils and natural ingredients. So you'll probably be
That's good. I'm glad you gave me. I'm glad I picked the healthy coffee.
No, look, I generally try to make something else. This one actually had like raw juice, a little bit like lemon and and then
What?
your mom will
You let me know. I was like, are we making preschool lead? And we have a winner, Shy Guy. Woo! Followed by Luigi, Rosalina, and is that Daisy in the top left there? Okay, there's your 4.
I wasn't supposed to drink it.
Yeah. So I can look like I. Oh my god.
I love it.
Oh, it's okay. I'll hold it out. Where's the? Oh. Really? Oh, that's funny.
I don't know. Actually, I think we got something on the schedule, but mainly it was.
I'm gonna try it later. So socializing.
There was 4 Loco in it. It was a very interesting taste.
Hello, I have my stickers. That's what I meant to come up with. Yeah.
When I catch
literally, I was like, when I catch that one-eyed cat was actually up. Like I say it's up, but I mean that literally. All I know is that I was like, I'm not getting gaslit by geeks anymore.
Yes, we've been reading more.
Maybe it's the group that is part of like the MAGFest.
That's probably true because people walk up and say, "Oh, you're AF Narratives," and I don't say anything because that doesn't register, and I'm like, "Wait, that is who am I?" They're like, "Wait, that's me."
Yeah,
Oh yes, Oh,
the
Instagram.
The Linktree has
I was like, I wasn't sure what you were doing.
So it's like linktree.com/blackandgamers.
Yes,
So all of it.
my brain is just
Business cards are so
Bay
cute.
Area, sorry.
I forgot mine.
Are you in
Yeah, and like
Moo.com. If no one got you, Moo.com got you. Just wait for a sale. Literally.
Are you
I know. I was like, I need my OC on my business cards.
Literally, Aris is my artist. They are expensive, but they are so worth it.
Yeah.
They're so worth it.
I was like, as someone who commissions a lot of artists, here's what I look for. And I was like, that's not what this game dev really.
do in North Carolina? Yeah, I used to the company that I started was here.
Did you make your heated rivalry?
Oh yes, I do have the heated rivalry buttons. I just keep forgetting to tell people. But I was like,
My girlfriend's like been into hockey her entire life, so now she's like experiencing hockey
I have
renaissance.
heated rivalry buttons.
What was your name?
I have heated rivalry buttons.
Yes, these are
I
my
didn't
Fujo
see
friends.
any merch, and I was like, I have to do everything my goddamn self around here.
Thank you. Wait, you get? I need the Raiders.
We're going to an actual real hockey place next week. Yes, because I was like, oh, I'm right here. I was like, there is the one in Gallery Place, so I guess I can go see live non-Galway hockey, like some sort of user.
Yes, we're going on the. Okay, in a couple weeks.
Because I was like, literally knew nothing about hockey until Heated Rivalry. Now I know what a hat trick is, and that's it.
Oh, I was taking notes.
Okay.
You're like thinking
I know you was.
Do I look very stupid? You look very Because I need to think about what I want to say and then write it down and then help me
To say it without reading it.
it's smart.
And then some other people have drawings. And so I left it here for them.
No, there's different, like we're all different, right? I know some people